Are you ready to kickstart your week with some dirt slinging and tire slaying action motorsports radio that packs the biggest guests?
Hi, Ken Block here.
Hey, my name's Jolene Van Butte.
What's up, Brian Deegan?
Vaughn Ginn Jr. here.
They've been thrown into one show that has broken down the barriers of what a motorsports radio show should be. This is the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, with support from General Tire, KMC Wheels, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, Gibson Exhaust, and MTX Audio, with your host, who also happens to spend his weekends flying 800 horsepower trucks through the dirt, Jim Beaver.
When was the last time you saw an off-road or rally driver begging to get behind the wheel of a NASCAR IndyCar? Yep, not happening, but you sure see these pavement racers begging to drive our cars.
And his partner in crime every week, a self-proclaimed Canadian moto chick who was jumping triples and taking podiums before most guys even learned to ride, Amy Hood.
No one knows how to say my last name. Like, is it really that hard? Amy Hood, like I'm from the hood. Don't get it twisted.
Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to join us as we take you through a motorsports ride like no other. Here is the man who carries a steering wheel in one hand and a mic in the other, Jim Beaver.
Good morning and welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris Razor. I'm your host, Jim Beaver. Another Monday morning and an epic guest lineup today, kicking things off, none other than Currie, a man that does just about everything in the world of off-road motorsports. And we've also got Allie Henderson, FMX pioneer for the ladies. She's going to be calling in with Amy Hood later on in the show. And we've also got my buddy Chris Leone calling in from Barbados. We're going to talk some Red Bull GRC down there in the Caribbean, doubleheader. And, man, lots of carnage and craziness happening down there in Barbados. We're also going to do a tribute to Eric Rohner in the second hour, a tribute Travis Pastrana did. We're going to air that here on the show. And, yeah, it was pretty touching. We're going to talk a lot about that in hour number 2. But Eric Rohner, passing away literally while we were on air last week. And it really kind of ripped at my heartstrings. We had Street Bike Tommy on air at the same time. And, those of you that listen know I have, very close ties with the Nitro Circus family and lots of friends over there. And, and we'll talk a lot about Eric Rohner later on in the show, but definitely just tore at me last week, losing him, virtually as we were on air talking Nitro Circus in this upcoming tour with my good friend Tommy, and just a tragic accident there. And like I said, we'll get to that, but definitely, those of you tuning in know that, thoughts are with his wife and kids right now and the entire Nitro Circus family. Definitely a tough deal happening, last week, last Monday, losing Eric Rohner. But I guess on a lighter note, talking some Nitro Circus, Travis Pastrana running a little NASCAR this past weekend. We'll talk about that. Also, some big news coming out of the Off-Road Expo. Obviously, we've got Red Bull GRC to get to. We also have some World Rallycross to get to later on. And like I said, awesome lineup. Chris Leone, Currie calling in here in just a minute. And then Allie Henderson, FMX Women's pioneer. She's going to be calling in and talking a little bit of everything. She's got her hand in a few things, obviously the FMX side of things, now doing a lot of work with exotic cars. So, maybe talk some Ferraris and Lamborghinis a little bit in hour number 2. I got no problem with that. Always exciting. And then, gonna talk a little Dust to Glory. That's right. Flashing back over 10 years to talk some Dust to Glory, announcing Dust to Glory number 2. That's on tap. Don't forget, I'm racing this weekend in the number 15 trophy truck, Best in the Desert Blue Water Desert Challenge. I'll be hammering down in that event this weekend. We're throwing a party with General Tire. We're going to be airing the radio show live Thursday night from the Blue Water Desert Challenge here in Parker. So look forward to that. And also, Red Bull Air Race. Every year we support that event. I believe like 24 tickets, and we're going to throw up some social media later on. We're going to be giving away some Red Bull Air Race tickets. But right now, my first guest, Mr. Currie, jumping on the line. How's everything going, Casey?
That's going good. Actually, it's down in Baja right now.
I got to tell you, I'm a little bit jealous, man. How's the weather down there? I know we're getting hit with some storms here in the Southwest. Baja, pretty nice?
Yeah, it's about 85 degrees and sunny.
Well, you can't ask for much more. What's the plans down in Baja? Can you let us know? I know you're down there quite a bit.
Yeah, right now, actually, we're just actually going on a little mini vacation. The Minzy family and my family and a couple other families are actually doing a little vacation for a couple of days. Going to go have some fun in the desert and really just enjoy Baja.
Yeah, I know. I saw Bryce posted up some pictures. Literally had like a truckload of razors and UTVs to head down there. So it looks like if you're involved in that, it's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have some fun here in the next couple of days.
Awesome. So, talking about Baja, I know, I guess we're on the topic, so we might as well ask. I know, it's been like 2 years since we've had you on air, which is just way, way, way too long. So we got a lot to catch up on. But, got to talk Baja 500. I know you did something a little out of the box and, took, I believe it was like an Ultra 4 rig down there, ran it in trophy truck. You guys got to finish, though, right?
Yeah, we did. It was very interesting and a big, big learning curve. I mean, I've definitely gone down with some big teams and driven trophy trucks, and to drive an Ultra 4 King of the Hammers car for 500 miles was a little gnarly, but we learned a lot, and it makes us want to go down more. And I'm actually in the process right now of building a new four-wheel drive trophy truck.
Nice. Well, and it's funny because I know, talking with Shannon Campbell, and he's run his Ultra 4 rigs in desert racing and been pretty successful. I know the boys at RPM just got a new four-wheel drive Geyser, but for the longest time it was like, four-wheel drives and desert racing, it was just, the expense, and it was just, nobody even thought to try it. And it seems like now with the progression of Ultra 4 and the parts and R&D they've done, it's made it that much more accessible. And I've been open with it on the show, and I've got a two-wheel drive trophy truck, and I've said, I think we're 5 years out from seeing a whole field of four-wheel drives and the two-wheel drives become obsolete.
Yeah, it's definitely coming. I mean, Ultra 4 has really opened the awareness and the productivity of all four-wheel drive vehicles. I mean, the stuff the Hammers cars can do now is so gnarly and so rough and so, gruciating on the big rocks that to go from the King of the Hammers, and being able to run the top speeds. I mean, really, when you think about it, the 500 and 1,000, besides the whoop sections, I mean, the Hammers cars have to go through so much more now with all the rocks that the products that are on those Hammers cars is getting to become readily available, and the price isn't so crazy. I mean, I know when the Herbst built their first four-wheel drive trophy truck, the parts were just insane. And now it's literally, you can go to RCV and buy parts that, will last for 1,000 miles.
Yeah, and and I think that's I know the Herbst. I mean, there was a lot of one-off billet pieces, handmade. I mean, that truck was so ahead of its time. And now I guess maybe 10 years later. But like you said, I mean, these parts accessible. I mean, Ultra 4 is just the technology in that. I mean, literally, I think the first King of the Hammers, it was basically rock crawlers running that. Now you've got these hybrid vehicles that can do just about anything. And just, to me, the engineering that's going into those and the thought process, and every year at King of the Hammers what debuts, it's just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I definitely have to give credit to the Lucas Oil and Torque, Pro 4s, because the T cases and some other parts inside the short course trucks are also a perfect blend of, everything kind of happening at the same time. But, with the Lucas Series being on the West Coast and so many wealthier people being able to buy Pro 4s now and race, I think it's really helping make all this come together at the same time.
Yeah, I completely agree. Talking about that and, four-wheel drives, I think last time we had you on air, you weren't even running a Jeep body on your Pro Light. I think it's been that long. So I got to ask you, was it when you switched to the Jeep body on the Pro Light, was it almost to you like coming home? I mean, obviously, we're familiar with, your background and stuff. I mean, to me that was, I thought if there's anybody going to run a Jeep body and off-road, it's got to be Casey. And, and I thought that was just fitting,
Yeah, well, when Nissan left the sport of motorsports to go after the tennis deal, what they did a couple of years ago, I just looked at it like, man, if I'm going to do anything, I need to promote my dad's company. And, for me, the Jeep thing is always something that has been a part of the family. And when I built the body, which was a gnarly deal, because I had the vision in my head of what I wanted it, but I didn't draw it up on any sort of CAD. That was just a full deal in my head with a couple of great guys to help make it happen. And from there, though, like once I started racing short course in a Jeep, it just opened it up to a whole new level of marketing opportunity for me, because with my family being in the Jeep industry, and all of a sudden, if you really think of it, there is no place. It's a company that is involved with Jeeps, but not in Ford F-150s and not Chevy 1500s. Right now, there is no market for them to be on television for racing. I mean, yes, Score and Best in Ezra has a little TV, but as far as full-on 25-minute TV show about one race, short course is the only form of racing right now. And, Jeep there was nothing for any Jeep associate to be able to go out and partake.
Yeah, well, and I think, you've always been one that's, really been dynamic about bringing in marketing partners and stuff like that. I mean, I completely agree, and that being said, it's a shame that, that there's no place for Jeeps to really be marketed on television, Yeah,
it's a very unique vehicle. I think the biggest thing about it is that, they're really not made for the speed, and they're really about the, adventure of life. But, the way we're tying it all together, when my trophy truck's done, everyone's going to be in awe, because I'm sure half the world's going to be very mad at me, because the body on my new trophy truck is going to be pretty insane.
Yeah. Any idea when, I know you said you're working on, some stuff. Any idea when you're expecting to debut, or is this something you're just kind of letting it organically happen, and when it's done, it's done?
The plan is to be done drawing it in 3 weeks, and then the plan, but you know how that goes. But the plan is to race it at the Ball Hall 500 next year. So we have the team is completely ready to basically shut down the shop from our last Lucas races in 2 weeks, and then from that race basically until April, we're going to do nothing but have a complete team of guys working on the trophy truck. So plan is to be testing it by May to race in June. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously there are some parts that no one has, and I do have some manufacturer help that is bringing some engineering along. So we'll see how it goes in the next couple of months. But the plan is the Ball Hall 500 for next year.
Awesome. And I got to ask you, King of the Hammers, that's still in the works for you as well, though. You're still going to be running that in early February?
Yeah, we had a super good car last year, and we just had some wiring gremlins, and we completely bare framed it. Actually, just last week we finished it for Alfred Expo. But yeah, we tore it down. We did basically everything minus the tubes and the chassis are brand new, and kind of just perfected what we had last year. And we're going to start testing. We'll probably do 4 months of testing before the Hammer, or 3 months of testing before the race. And yes, that is definitely on the game plan. I'm also going to be racing a bone stock Jeep in the stock class this year. So I'm mixing it up for sure.
No, definitely doing some double duty. King of the Hammers, talking about that event though. I mean, you're running short course all year long. You're one of the front running teams in Pro Light. I mean, when you step into a rock event, I mean, is it pretty seamless for you, or do you have to switch? You know what I mean, your mindset and how you approach the event?
Not well. I mean, when it's funny, like basically the way it works is for me is like I can pretty much hop in anything now just because I do it so often, but the biggest thing is getting in the rocks. Like the rocks take a different driving mindset than anything else. So for us, like we go out starting like the month before the race. We'll just go out and some pre-runners that we have, or some other rock buggies, I guess. And really, it's not so much about the vehicle capability. It's about getting the mindset to accomplish anything in the rocks. As far as if somebody is stuck here, you're going to have to go here. How tippy can it go before it tips over? How far over, straight up and down can you go before it falls over backwards? That kind of thing. It takes a mindset that, the only way to do it is by practicing, and you have to refresh yourself. Rock crawling, I feel is the hardest part about the King of Hammers. Everyone says that you have to have this crazy fast car in the desert, and I believe that, if it's a 200-mile race and 140 miles is in the desert.
Yeah, well, 140 of it's in the desert, but if you can't get through the rocks, you're pretty much screwed, though, right? Hello? You there, Casey?
Nope. Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I thought we lost you there for a second. I know, calling in from Baja, but it's pretty interesting event. I mean, just the way it's put together, like you said, you got to have a crazy fast vehicle, but then again, the shorter section of the event is the rocks, but if you can't get through those, you're pretty much screwed overall, right?
Oh yeah, yes, for sure. And the rocks are gnarly, and they get piled up with big bottlenecks. So you got to learn how to work your way through all that stuff. And the other cool thing about that event is it's a week-long event. I mean, the race is only one day, but dude, to get 30,000 people on that lake bed for a whole week is pretty incredible. That it's the only event that I do that the it's not the show of contingencies big and then the race is big. This is like a week of everything going on every day. I mean, there's people on the trail 24 hours a day. I mean, every day of the entire week of the Hammers.
Yeah. I mean, as far as you look at, the entire year and you're involved in so much, obviously desert racing now, you've got Lucas. You've been one of the Lucas guys that, off and on has gone back to Crandon and run back there. I think you've got a world championship ring to your name, but,
yeah.
You look at all these events that you do, and I mean, King of the Hammers, is that pretty much the cornerstone of your marketing? I mean, that's the one event you can't miss every year?
I would say yes and no. After going to Baja and in the King of Hammers Jeep and getting the hatred responses, but also getting the very helpful, this is badass responses, dude, honestly, I think a lot of it is doing everything. It's a combination of doing short course, King of Hammers, and Baja that I think that's where the fans and everybody want to see it. It's, not just doing one thing. I think only racing King of Hammers isn't enough. I think the people are excited from the Hammers, but from there, they're looking for the next thing. And, I think going to the Baja with the same vehicle and going, just doing a variety of things for the fans and for the entertainment value of, even my social media, I think that's, where it's going is people want to see a little bit of everything. They don't just want to see the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, I completely agree. It seems like, the guys, like you and, Bryce is another one that's involved in a little bit of everything. And, it seems like those are the guys that, attract the sponsors, the fans, attached to because, it's like you said, it's just diverse and people, at some point they get bored seeing the same thing over and over and, bringing something new to the table definitely keeps them engaged.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you look at it right now, even Robbie Gordon, I mean, there's just not a lot of guys doing only the same thing over and over that are getting the sponsors and really getting the attention. I think by doing multiple aspects and really focusing on the off-road thing, as a whole, it seems to be working. I think there's a lot of people in the world that want to live the off-road lifestyle. So it's, by doing a little bit of it all, we can all take in something from everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and I know, me as a driver, and I'm sure you can attest to that. I mean, this year I picked up Racing Razors. I do a lot of stuff, in the rally community, and to me, it keeps me engaged. I mean, I've spent so much time in a trophy truck at this point that, you know what I mean? I jump in there and sometimes, I hate to say it, but it's just not as exciting anymore. But even going out and racing Razors or jumping in a rally car, to me as a driver, I love that because it's a new steering wheel every day,
Oh, for sure. There's nothing like driving something different every day. So, I mean, just being behind the wheel of anything is what I live for.
Yeah, exactly. So I got to ask you, we got to talk a little bit of Lucas because that's, I don't want to say your bread and butter, but, you definitely, you're right there. We got, the final rounds coming up. I mean, let's talk a little bit about Lucas and the pro light class. I got to tell you, man, that class, I've said it before, I'll say it again, that's got to be one of the hardest wins to take in short course. I mean, obviously we've seen what Kyle's done in Pro 4, and that's pretty dang tough, but pro light, I mean, you guys, there's so many guys on any given day that can win there.
Yeah, the pro light class is interesting. Everyone, for me, the reason I race pro light is way more than budget and anything else. Everyone always, some people always go, oh, you should go race Pro 2 or Pro 4, but I'm like, a Jeep is a mid-sized vehicle. Jeep is not a full-sized vehicle. So first things first, everyone that always says, "Oh, you should do something else," it's like, well, technically, if I'm associating with a Jeep Wrangler, that is a mid-sized vehicle. Why would I want to go race a Ford F-150 if all my branding is around a Jeep JK? And then, second of all, the racing in short course pro light right now, whether it's in Torque or Lucas, is the biggest class by almost double of any other class. I think there's 35 pro lights in Lucas and 30 pro lights in Torque that have gotten points at some point this year. So if you look at that, I mean, that's almost double the amount of Pro 2s and way over double the amount of Pro 4s.
Yeah, it's pretty nutty. I mean, and some of these, I hate to say, it was funny because I was having this conversation with RJ Anderson a while back, and I don't know, maybe a month and a half ago, and we were talking about it. And you're like him. I don't consider you an old guy, but you're like the veteran of the class, and that's got to be kind of a weird hat for you to wear because forever you were the young gun, and now all of a sudden you're the veteran. And it's like you're not even that old yet, but it's like, man, I'm the veteran here. But but you see all this young talent coming out of karts and stuff, and it's just amazing, how fast these kids are getting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the biggest thing in our sport right now is, to me, the sport is definitely evolving. But the only thing that's a little scary is that the sport is evolving with all these kids that the dads are funding it. So it's like the thing that makes everybody nervous is if the economy dips once, are we gonna lose it all? Before there was a lot more, I'd say, professional athletes or people that were doing it with their own money. So whether the economy dipped or didn't dip, they were there racing. But now with so many young, hungry blood, a lot of those other guys have gone away, which, my concern on that is the fact that, if there's one dip in the economy, how big will racing still be in the Lucas Series?
Yeah, well, and I know we saw that in desert racing, about 10 years ago when the economy dipped. We went from a field of 25 trophy trucks to 2 and 3 at events, and it's a good point. I never really thought about that, but in short courses, there's a lot of self-funded teams and, and rich families that are just throwing money at it, and you do wonder if the economy took a dip, is all of a sudden you're going to go from 30 pro lights to, 6.
Yeah, it's something definitely that's on the radar. So we'll see. But I mean, it's definitely going good. I think the sport's in a good spot. They just we definitely need to protect something so more people can get sponsored. I think that's the only thing that's missing in off road is there's a lot of the big teams have the good funding, but I don't know, for a lot of the newer blood, the younger kids, I don't see the new sponsors attaching and growing with the brands like they used to.
Yeah, well, and I know I've had this conversation numerous times with a few guys, and part of that problem is too, I think, is they'll come in and somebody will throw them some product and they'll give away half a bedside, and a guy like you that's out there, putting together, a marketing package and a business model, it makes it tough for you because, the kid down the street who's, getting some TV time, he's giving away half his car for free product, and it makes it tough for you to be able to sell sponsorship.
Oh yeah, that is getting harder and harder with there being almost trucks on the track. There's a lot of that going on, and it's not getting any better for sure. So, it just makes us try harder and do different things and be different. But I mean, it definitely keeps on us toes. So, it's fun, right? I mean, life is a challenge. So,
yeah.
We're ready to battle. So, how I look at it, we're in the biggest price class in pro light or in short course. I mean, if anyone wants to claim that, there's no one else that's racing against 35 trucks at one time. We're the only class, all of short course off-road racing, that you actually have to qualify to get to the main event. They actually send people home in pro light class now if you're not in the top 20.
Yeah. But I think that's, it's just crazy how big that class has gotten. I got to ask you, I know Baja, the event down there in Ensenada was pretty good to you. How do you feel that event, went overall? I mean, it's pretty good to see Lucas kind of step out of their box and go and promote an event in Baja. I mean, I'm pretty excited to get down there next year and see, kind of the evolution of it.
By far the best event of the entire year. I mean, if Lucas did one thing right this year, it was taking short course to Baja. And The Pudia family did an incredible amount of work to help the drivers, and the whole event was incredible. Literally, I mean, everything from the hospitality to the track to the different venue, and just being down in Baja. The fans in Baja are just incredible. And, you know, I go to Crane, you think Crane is so big. And then when I went to the 500 this year, I mean, I have never seen a response so insane as that Jeep driving through Tech at the Baja 500. And then to go to this Lucas race and the response from Baja coming over to the Lucas race, it is insane. We don't get those type of fans at any American race like that Baja Lucas Oil race. It was just insane.
Yeah, it's everybody I talked to said, you know, it's one of those can't miss events in 2016. They're like, you just have to be there. They said it was just off the chain, literally. You know, they said every single day it was just nuts.
I agree. The track, they definitely did some variety on the track, which makes a good racing. And, you know, yes, the whole deal was incredible. I really excited that Luke just stepped up and made that happen.
Yeah, you know, you and I both. Before we let you go, you got anybody you want to thank or give a shout out, and where can they find more information on Casey Currie?
Yeah, you can check me out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with the / Casey Currie, and definitely want to give a shout out to Monster and DHE, Walker Evans, to everybody that supports me, all the fans, all the friends, the family. It's one small community that kind of breached the world. So I got to give a shout out to the complete off-road community for stepping back and holding true to being off-road racing. But I want to be in there. I know there's a lot of people that don't want to go anywhere but race off-road for a living. So, I want to keep the community tight, and I want to expand it so the world wants to come racing with us.
Awesome. I completely agree. There's no place I'd rather be than driving off-road vehicles, and I think that's definitely a good note to leave it on. But have fun down there with the Menzies, and sounds like it's going to be a heck of a week for you guys.
Yep, I'll have a good time and have fun. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, Casey.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. That was Casey Currie. Man, just an all-around off-road badass is the way to put it, man. He's involved in Lucas, Short Course, King of the Hammers, new trophy truck on the horizon. I mean, it's ton of stuff out of the Currie camp. Definitely one of those guys you want to be following on social media. Is one that does a lot of giveaways too and gives back. So awesome catching up with him. It's definitely been a while, almost 2 years, and it was crazy. I literally shot Casey a text last week and I said, dude, it's been like 2 years since we've had you on. And he's like, well, let's do it this Monday. And he's like, I'm in Baja, but I'll call in. I'm like, awesome. It just one of those guys, like he is an ambassador for the sport of off-road like none other. He's out there at Jeep events, UTV events, rock crawling, short course, desert, it doesn't matter. I mean, Baja, the United States, all over the country. I mean, Casey is there. He's promoted the sport in monster truck circles. I mean, the guy is just definitely a great ambassador for the sport of off-road, and I think that's all there is to it. We're going to take a short commercial break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris RZR. We come back, we're going to talk some Red Bull GRC with my buddy Chris Leone. Red Bull GRC, kind of the media director and jack of all trades over there at Red Bull GRC, but I call him the world's foremost expert on rallycross, and you should too, because the guy is definitely as knowledgeable as anybody I've ever met on the sport, and he's calling in from Barbados, so we'll get the skinny on what happened down there in this doubleheader that I guess Tanner Faust took both of the rounds, but definitely lots of bombs dropping down there in Barbados. So all that and more coming up on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
Hey, I'm RJ Henderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When R.J. Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning RZR XP 1000. R.J. is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris RZRs to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris Razors RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Henderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris Razor vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XT Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XT Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners, and for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Another Monday morning, I wouldn't say in the books, but we're heading that direction. I guess we're only about a quarter of the way through the show, but next guest going to be calling in here in just a minute. Red Bull GRC's Chris Leone. And, man, we're going to be talking some Barbados down there, Bushy Park, and it's definitely was an entertaining weekend, that's for sure. And, man, it's definitely a shakeup in the standings for sure down there in Barbados. And from what I understand, Chris Leone down there in Barbados is having a tough time making a call. So we are going to call him. Normally we have our guest call in, but in the case of Barbados, I guess the phone lines down there don't necessarily like what's going on. So we're going to call Mr. Leone and see if we can get him on the air. As we're ringing him up, we'll see if he picks up here. Ringing. Hopefully we don't get some crazy voicemail, but no telling. How's everything going, Chris?
I am doing well, Jim. How you doing?
Pretty good. I guess Barbados doesn't like you making calls, huh?
Well, this is the first that I've noticed of that throughout the weekend. So, of course, the first time I try it once the race weekend ends, that's when I run into problems.
Yeah.
But I think everything's been great. That was an incredible race weekend, and we're really excited about the momentum we've got heading into Vegas.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it was to me it was like going in. We had all these storylines and everything else, and it was like somebody flew over with a bomber and just dropped a bunch of explosives in the track and just shook everything up. I mean, that's all there. I mean, everything we thought going into this is out the window at this point. And you've got a guy like Scott Speed who a couple of rounds ago was an afterthought. Tanner Faust was an afterthought, and now all of a sudden they're no longer afterthoughts, and Ken's kind of an afterthought, and it's like, what the heck happened down there, dude? I mean, it was a doubleheader, and I think things got shook up as much as they possibly could.
You know, you could say that maybe there's something in this Caribbean air, but it's really just a matter of taking advantage of doubleheaders. And nobody has done that better this year than Scott Speed. The Daytona doubleheader didn't work out so well for him at the beginning of the year when he missed one of the finals and had a DNF in the other, but he hasn't missed the podium in any of the other six. And really, because you got those back-to-back races, it's really been about taking advantage of others' mistakes, others' errors, others' mechanical failures. And Scott has done a better job of that than anybody else. And right behind him is Tanner. In fact, the top three drivers in Supercar points as of right now are the drivers who scored the three most points in doubleheaders this year. That's really all that it is: driving smart, driving safe, driving clean. And, Scott, Tanner, and Sebastian have just done that the best out of anybody in the series this season.
Yeah. Well, and we're gonna get to talking about everything in round 1 and 2. I want to make mention about Sebastian, though. You say he's done the best out of that. And you name him along with Scott and Tanner. To me, Sebastian, I mean, here's a kid. He's technically a rookie. He is driving like a veteran. I mean, this kid, obviously, at this point, he doesn't really have a chance at the Drivers' Championship, but what he's done, in my opinion, has just been remarkable.
Yeah, he's definitely been one of the smartest drivers out there. He's been one of the cleanest drivers. It's just that, the past couple of doubleheaders, when he had an opportunity to really break this championship wide open, he wasn't able to do it. And as so many of our drivers say in press conferences when they're at a loss for words, it is what it is, and that's rallycross. That being said, Sebastian has done a remarkable job this year, as you should expect. He is the defending Swedish champion. He is somebody who's intimately familiar with the OMSE equipment, seeing as he works on it when he's not driving it.
Yeah.
And that gives him the opportunity to understand the car mechanically better than just about any other driver. And it's not that obviously these other guys in the seat don't understand what's going on. It's just that when you're also working on the vehicle, you understand its strengths and weaknesses, you understand its vulnerabilities, and you understand where you can take advantage of it to, gain an advantage over another competitor. And that's something that Sebastian has, for the most part, done well. They've struggled a little bit in qualifying this year. They haven't always qualified up front, which, to those who have followed GRC over the years and who have seen OMSE dominance in the supercar field, may come as a bit of a surprise. But Sebastian and that team do a great job of, when they don't qualify on top, trying to find a way to get back there, using multiple rounds of heats to try and gain those positions and get to where they need to be in the final, and then, accumulating points. And while, as you said, Sebastian is not mathematically eligible for the championship as of right now, he could at least gain second if the cards fall the right way in Vegas. So second place in your first season, against this field is not too shabby at all.
No, and and speaking of the reigning champion, Yoni Weeman, great to see him back on the podium. I mean, he's definitely, I wouldn't say he's struggled this year. I would say he's had a lot of bad luck. But I know he was very excited to be on the podium. It sounded like, and I was excited to see him back up there.
How unbelievable is it that Yoni went so far through this season without being able to get up there? I mean, the issue in Fort Lauderdale just kind of curbed his momentum from the start, and he's had to work really hard to get back to where he is. Had a surefire podium at New River before the engine issue, and just has been doing exactly what he did last year for the most part, which is, in a lot of the races, he's just going out and scoring top 5 finishes. Unfortunately, instead of podiums in the races where he's not running 4th or 5th, he's had, more DNFs or more unlucky breaks than he has had podiums. And that's part of the reason why he has also fallen out of this race. But, late in this season, he's really come on strong. He's really shown that he should still be there. And that if not for, a couple of those unlucky breaks that you and I have just mentioned, he very well could be there. He hasn't forgotten how to do it at the highest level. He hasn't forgotten how to make passes and race with these other guys. It happens. It's such a deep field that one mistake can really hurt you over the long run. It's such a momentum sport. It's something that everybody says in our paddock. It's so hard when you have the tide turned against you to get it back going your way. But likewise, when you get the wind in your sails, the way that the Volkswagens have over the past month or so, it's really hard to take it out.
Yeah. I completely agree. It's so funny how we've seen the tide change this year, back and forth, and it's just it truly has been kind of crazy. But I guess me as as a fan and somebody that's I would say pretty knowledgeable on the sport. To me, I mean, you talked about the Olsbergs and and those cars and stuff like that, and how they've got so many wins and championships. To me, knowing Andreas. Obviously he wants to be winning. He wants to be leading the championship. But I think deep down he's really excited to see this competition in Red Bull GRC. They ran away with everything for so long and were so much better than everybody else that I think now that they've got that competition, I think, I think it's going to be a great offseason for Olsbergs. I think they're going to come back next year, and it's going to be just remarkable, the speed they find this offseason because, I don't want to say they were able to take things for granted, but they were up front for so long without any challengers that, sometimes you just kind of sit back and, and rest on what you've got.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, this offseason for everybody, given the advancements that we've seen, given the different things that, teams have done to make their cars better, stronger, faster, more reliable, it's everybody's going to have their work cut out for them this off season. I will say this though, for how the supercar class has shifted, we've still got that OMSE, those familiar 2 cars up front in GRC lights. And it's really down to, between Austin Cindric and Oliver Eriksson, who wins the final in Vegas. And that's crazy to think about. It's one of the things that the Volkswagen drivers have said is, we work together, and when all is said and done, may the best man win. And Austin Cindric and Oliver Eriksson have worked together the same way. They are incredible teammates. They have fantastic chemistry with one another. They're always joking around and goofing off. It's not one of those things where, like you may have seen in Formula One in the past, when Senna and Prost were teammates and they just hated each other. Austin and Oliver, they're always goofing around. They're buddies. They genuinely enjoy spending time with each other. They have great chemistry, and that just helps them push higher and higher. And likewise, I think the Driver and Reinbold boys, Alex Keys and Miles Maroney, I think they have very good chemistry as well, and that's part of the reason why you see that team running, towards the front in a lot of races, and why you see Alex having taken multiple wins and Miles still being in this title hunt and everything, everything that they've been able to do in that team's first year running lights. So it's just, the lights class has made leaps and bounds over the past year. There's still a bit of that OMSE dominance, but, I think you will see some of these other lights teams really go at it hard in the off season to try and make the lights class look a little more like the supercar class in terms of the variability of who's running up front next year.
Yeah, well, and I think this is the first year that we've really seen the lights series or the lights class turn into the vision that Andreas Eriksson had. And, there's a lot of rookie teams. Tanner Witten, and Dirtfish coming in, they've been highly successful. Alejo Fernandez's team, to me, it's just it's been really cool to see this class turn into what it has and have all these different teams and be competitive. Whereas before it was a lot of arrive and drive type of guys and Olsbergs who was kind of fielding the cars for everyone. Where now it's you see these teams breaking away and trying to find different things that make them a little bit quicker than the next.
Precisely, and everybody is in it to win it. You mentioned the Dirtfish team and all that they've done to try and make Tanner as competitive as possible. They sent the Dirtfish school car down here to Barbados because they thought that taking Tanner's normal car, from Los Angeles, taking that car down here wouldn't have given them the time to re-prep it and, give them the best chance to win or to make up points. So they've invested in 2 cars for one driver, which is not something you see in this sport, really. Obviously that second car has gotten plenty of use at the school, but regardless, it's something that a lot of other drivers haven't been able to work with. And what the AF Racing team has done, the moves that David Fernandez has made to grow that to a 2-car team with Nur Ali, to put everything he possibly can behind Alejo, to put Alejo in this championship race and, get him contending for a championship as a sophomore, it's been really impressive. And then, of course, you look at what Reese Millen has done with his team and how, he's helped Harry Chung take his skills to the next level. He's helped Harry, get on that first podium in Daytona and really become a competitive driver that can, at least make it to the podium in every single lights race. Reese fielded Blake Bilko Williams, this weekend in Bilko's first time in a rallycross car. And at one point, Bilko was running third. Yeah. It's been amazing to see what they've done, all these different teams. River Racing with Colette Davis, they put that program together at the absolute last possible second. And what Colette has been able to do, just to get that car out there and just to try and turn competitive laps when there's just so much to learn over that first season has also been, highly impressive. It's a really competitive class. There are so many people who are really working hard to make that class just as competitive, if not more so than supercars. And, there's a very bright future ahead.
Yeah, I agree. It's, I mean, just, the drivers I know that are interested in going and running lights next season and, and the returning teams and, just looking at these young kids. I mean, Oliver Erickson, I mean, I was there in New York when he made his, I believe, was it last year in New York? I was there calling the race when he made his debut, and he'd never driven a lights car in his life. I mean, he was doing folk racing, and here we are a year later, and literally a year later, and he's contending for a championship. The growth of this series has been tremendous, but the growth of the drivers and using it as a stepping stone. I mean, I'm looking at this list of drivers going, I can name a half dozen right now that we're going to see in supercars at some point.
Oh, absolutely. It's interesting to think about who will and who could move up next year. We're still very early on in the silly season for 2016. There's not a lot of, other than the contract extensions that Scott and Tanner have signed at Volkswagen, there really isn't a lot of driver team news to report. I mean, there have been plenty of rumors swirling, about some very, very big potential things happening on that grid. But, regardless, it's whether or not some of these guys move up to a supercar or whether or not they stay in lights, there are so many talented drivers in this field. And, I can't think of any one of them off the top of my head that does not want to be back next year. That is not doing everything they possibly can to try and get back next year. And when you have a series that is putting on racing that makes drivers want to stay, then, that's all you can ask for as an organizer, that you've got a happy driver base that wants to stay and help it grow.
Yeah. Well, I want to shoot off a couple names for you. I know we only got a few minutes left, but I want to shoot off a few names at you. And one, Austin Dine, first career pole, and this kid, I mean, we've called him the dark horse for 2 years now. And, I got to say, I mean, I think at some point we're going to see him sneak in and possibly take a victory. I'm not saying this year, but I think definitely within the next 12 months, we're going to see him standing on top of the box.
Yeah. And it's very interesting. I'm sure a lot of people have seen that Austin has cultivated himself one or two rivals over the past year, but that's just a fact that happens when you're an aggressive driver and when you're going for, big moves, home run moves, and trying to do everything that you can to take a victory or gain a position or whatever it may be. Rallycross is very much a sport where the home run move can get you a lot of positions. And that home run move, there are so many different definitions for it. I mean, for example, I think of Steve Arpin here in Barbados last year. When Steve took the Joker in the final, he jumped from 7th or 8th place up to P3. And not only that, when Yoni got his penalty for taking the Joker twice by mistake, Steve jumped to P2. So essentially, with one move, he gained 5 or 6 spots.
Yeah. And
that's a home run move. And that's something that, Austin has done very well a couple of times. He's made some great passes. He's made some huge moves. He's done everything he can to put himself in a position where he can take that victory. And he's taken he took 2 heat or semifinal victories over the weekend here in Barbados. And, that is the result of a driver who is working hard, who is doing everything he can to prepare himself, who is, pushing the limits of his car, the limits of himself, and really pushing the field to try and defend themselves against that car. We've seen the Herta Rally Sport cars running up front all season long. What Patrick Sandell has done in the other car over there has been astounding. He's been incredibly fast. It's Austin's got the right equipment. He's just He's just got to have one or two lucky breaks, and then he's going to be right up there with everybody else, the way that he was as the runner-up in the first Daytona race.
Yeah. Well, next name I want to throw at you, and I know he's only run a partial schedule this year, and the same as he did last year. But last year it was kind of like he just wasn't engaged in it, and that is Brian Deegan. But this year, moving to Chip Ganassi, it was must have been like a breath of fresh air. And that's not saying anything bad about Olsberg. It just seems like Deegan. I mean, he's re-engaged. Obviously, he's running a partial schedule. But he has been so ridiculously fast. You got to think. I mean, he knows this, and you got to hope that at some point he goes, "Hey, I want to be back full time in GRC."
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, last year I wouldn't necessarily say that Brian wasn't engaged. I'd just say that the way that program was structured last year just really put a lot of limits on his ability to be able to be competitive. It was a partial program that only ran half the schedule. He wasn't running directly under the OMSE banner and OMSE tent, which, because they had invested their resources in Yoni and Patrick, and, there were some sponsorship conflicts and things on that end that sort of limited the ability to work together as closely as Brian may have done with, Tanner in the previous year or with any other drivers, with that team. But yeah, this year being able to run with the Ganassi squad as that team has learned the ins and outs of being competitive in this series, it's definitely helped him get back to where we all know that he can be. Brian has always been one of the best drivers in Red Bull GRC. Statistically, if you look at the record books, if you look at the top 5 all time in a lot of different categories, Brian's right there because he is one of the best drivers that we've ever had. And having that, having those resources over at Ganassi has just been, the best possible way for him to really take it to the next level. Having a teammate that he can work with in Steve Arpin, running a majority of the schedule, and it's going to end up being 8 races. What'll really be interesting to see is how many points he scores in those 8 races and prorating them over 12, what that would have looked like had he run the full season. Because I'm pretty sure that it will be at least top 5, if not top 3, which is where when Brian ran full time, in 2012 and ran full time in 2013, which is where he was. Yeah. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he's able to make the entire 2016 season. Obviously, his off-road truck program does very well, and that's not something you want to compromise. But if the situation is right, then I'm sure you'll see him contending for next year's championship. I know he wants to. I know that he will run very well if he is able to. Yeah.
Well, and got one more at you, and we've only got about 60 seconds left. But what do you think? Obviously, they're not going away; they're going to be back next year. I know that for fact. Subaru, what do you think they do this off season? I mean, obviously they've had a new car this year, and they've struggled with the development, and the results haven't been, like we saw at the end of last year. But what do you think we see this off season from Subaru going into 2016?
I just think there's going to be a lot of refining, a lot of tweaking, a lot of lessons learned from this year, the same as anybody else. We've seen that car. We've seen that the 2015 can really make some moves. We saw Sver take a 4th place finish in Los Angeles, and we saw Bucky qualify right up front there. Those guys are the right guys for the job, and they can really make a lot of waves. It's just a development process. It's a brand new car. It's going to take some time. It doesn't just magically happen. So it's obviously everybody, every devoted fan over for Subaru Rally Team USA wants it to happen quicker, but it's just a process. It was a process last time when they brought in the older car in 2012 and refined it over 3 years, and it'll be a process this time, but that doesn't mean that they won't be able to do it again and, be able to stand back on top of the box.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Chris, got to let you go, but where can people find out more information, on Red Bull GRC and, and obviously tickets for Las Vegas?
We are posting stories all week long recapping Barbados at redbullgrc.com. If you want to see the lights action, tune into NBC Sports Network on Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, and you'll be able to see both Barbados finals. And if you want to come to Las Vegas, Wednesday, November 4th, redbullglobalrallycross.com/tickets. They're on sale now. We're returning to the same lot that we raced in 2013 on the Strip, and it's going to be a heck of a show.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Chris, and, I guess have some fun down there in Barbados before you fly back.
No promises on that. A lot of work to do.
All right. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, that was Red Bull GRC's Chris Leone recapping Barbados. Before we cut to break, want to talk about results from down there in Barbados. First race in Barbados, Tanner Faust with the win. Scott Speed, Yoni Weeman. That was your 1, 2, 3 in the supercars. And then the second event down there was Tanner once again, Scott Speed, Nelson P.K. Jr. in your 1, 2, 3. And then going over to GRC Lights, the second event, it was Austin Cindric, Oliver Erickson, and Alejo Fernandez. And then in the first Barbados round in the lights, it was Oliver Erickson, Austin Cindric, Alejo Fernandez. So just switching up the podium a bit. But we are going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Eric Roner. Got some World Rallycross results and talk some Pastrana and NASCAR and Dust to Glory too. And then we'll have Allie Henderson calling in, with Amy Hood later on in the show. So a lot more to come here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
I'm Polaris rider Levi LaValle, and I choose Polaris just because they have the best quality, highest performing, most fun machines out there.
Only one company has taken Levi LaValle to 10 X Games medals, snowcross championships, a double backflip, and a world record long jump of 412 feet across the San Diego Harbor on New Year's Eve, and that company is Polaris. Whether it's dominating the X Games, racing a stock Polaris Razor XP1000 in the Terracross Championship, or just hitting the trail on the weekend, for over 20 years, Levi has relied on the same quality Polaris vehicles and products you can purchase at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of action sports legend Levi LaValle and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XD Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XD Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance, rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZ CRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Looking to upgrade the brake system on your race car, pre-runner, or weekend toy? Jmar Performance Brake Systems has you covered. An industry leader in performance braking systems, Jmar can outfit your vehicle with the highest quality American-made calipers, rotors, master cylinders, hubs, turning brakes, and shifters for Volkswagens to trophy trucks and everything in between. For more information and their full product line, visit Jmar on the web at jmarperformance.com or follow them on Instagram and Twitter at Jmar Brakes. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Another Monday morning, halfway through this 2-hour edition of the Down and Dirty Radio Show, and I'm your host, Jim Beaver. And, if you guys got any questions, obviously, we're going to be doing some results and some recaps the next 30 minutes, and then Allie, Henderson, Amy Hood, they are on tap later on this hour at JimBeaver15. That is my Twitter account. My Instagram account as well, and my Periscope account, and my Snapchat account. But Twitter is where we're at today. Shoot me over those questions. We'll definitely get them answered. And doesn't even have to be for one of our guests, just anything action motorsports related. Heck, I'll just answer just about anything on air anyways. So I love hearing your questions at JimBeaver15, and doesn't have to be on air either. Love getting those questions, and we will definitely put them up just about any time. And, don't forget, we're talking about episode number 200 coming up in a few weeks. And I want your guest suggestions. Got a suggestion sent to me over the past week. Somebody wanting Danny Way on air, and I think that's a tremendous idea. Danny Way, definitely a solid guy that should be on the show. He's done a little rallycross, obviously a ton of skateboarding. Lots of tie-ins there with the show. So I will definitely reach out to Danny Way for episode number 200. Can't promise anything, but I will definitely reach out to his people. And what do they say? Put my people in touch with your people. Well, we'll make it happen. See if I can dial in Danny Way. I know a lot of guests coming up next couple of weeks. It's going to be some packed shows next week. None other than Kirby Chambliss, Red Bull Air Race legend. He'll be on air. And then I've got some others I'm not at liberty to talk about yet, but just hang tight, man. The next 2 to 3 weeks are going to be epic here on air. But, something I wanted to do today, obviously we kind of opened the show talking about it a bit, but, you all know that the Nitro Circus family, near and dear to my heart, obviously Jolene, a great friend of mine, Street Bike Tommy, another good friend of mine, Travis has been tremendously supportive of this show. Greg Godfrey, one of the founders of Nitro Circus, and the whole Godfrey clan, I mean, have been just great to me, great to the show, and they're great friends. I mean, I see them at events. Obviously Jolene and I now doing Terracross together. But I support them when they're in Phoenix, and just a great group of people behind the scenes, and it was really tough on me last week, and if it was tough on me, I can only imagine what Eric Roner's family and the Nitro Circus family are going through right now, in losing Eric Roner. But instead of me rambling on for the next 10 minutes about Eric Roner, a guy that probably knows Roner better than anybody, Travis Pastrana, did an interview with Inertia. It was kind of an Eric Roner tribute with the Inertia right after it happened, and it's only about 3 minutes long, but I think it sums up Eric Roner perfectly. So I thought we'd air this clip for you, courtesy of the Inertia.
I don't know what to do, what to say, but Annika, a couple hours after Eric had passed, she still couldn't pull herself together to tell their kid Oscar that her dad wasn't going to be coming home from work, and that's my heart. I'm just gutted for her. He really was that kind of voice of reason. It's a really surreal moment right now to hear that the guy that was the most cautious, the most safe, the most calculated person ends up hitting a tree. That would be like, I don't know, Evel Knievel dying riding his motorcycle down the freeway. I've never packed a bass rig. Eric's always done it for, like, everywhere I've gone, he's packed the rig for me, and at the end of the day, I've trusted my life to him every single time. There's a lot of backlash every time someone gets hurt. They're like, I told you, man. There's no, these things are dangerous. And for me, everyone that says, well, how could you do action sports? How could you encourage this? And I just look around. I look at Woodwards around the world. I look at every ski hill and motorcycle track, and I see these families coming together, and this camaraderie and this unity that it's a family, it's a brotherhood that you don't find anywhere else. Matt Hoffman, I think, said it the best. He says, live to die happy. And that doesn't mean he wants to die tomorrow. It means he wants to live a full, happy, healthy life. And for us to not be on tour, to stop doing what we do, to stop our passion is almost an insult to Eric and everyone that's gone before us. His legacy was that Eric was that guy that he wasn't in a sport that really substantiated a lifestyle, but because of his charisma, because of his personality and his work ethic, he was able to make a really good living. And then when he got hurt, he blew out his knee and he couldn't do anything, he started Roner Vision. And it was just him filming just the adventures with him and his son Oscar, and going around and got this huge following. And there's certain people in life that other people gravitate towards. It's their charisma, it's their excitement, it's just people that make you feel good about just being around them. And Eric is one of those guys. So if anything that his kids, I hope, can take from him is not even how great he was in action sports, but how great of a person he was and how good he made everyone feel. And I'm just tearing up right now thinking that they won't, they're not going to be able to experience that firsthand.
Yeah, I think Travis summed it up better than I ever could. I can tell you, obviously, I've got close ties to the Nitro Circus family. Me personally, I only met Eric Roner once, but the guy I met was probably one of the most genuine people. Just had one of those smiles that that you can tell it's genuine. I mean, it just you talk about smiles for miles, and that was Eric Roner. Just loved life and just a great human. And he will definitely be missed by many people. A lot of you may not know, but a lot of us, whether we're doing radio or doing Nitro Circus, and you're on TV and you're touring, we don't make a lot of money. We're comfortable, but definitely don't make a lot of money. And Eric Roner definitely in that vote. I mean, he was professional action sports athlete. but he didn't make a ton of money. I mean, it's a passion. There's very few, Pastranas or Shaun Whites or Tony Hawks of the world. Let's put it that way. A lot of us just, we do our thing and make ends meet and are happy doing that. And so that being said, Eric Roner, his family obviously leaves behind a wife and 2 children. They have a fun setup, and I'm not going to give the link out over air because it's too long, but it's in all of my social media profiles. Facebook, I've put posts about that probably twice the past week. Twitter, Instagram. Most of the Nitro Circus people, have that link in their profiles as well. So skip over there. It doesn't matter how small. I don't care if it's $1 or $200. If you can make a donation, definitely do it. I'm sure that it will definitely be appreciated by Eric Roner's wife and children. So definitely Godspeed, Roner, and we'll see you on the other side, my friend. So speaking of Nitro Circus, though, Mr. Travis Pastrana decided to run NASCAR over the weekend. It's been a while since we've seen him in NASCAR. Got a top-level ride there in NASCAR in the NASCAR Truck Series. And I know we don't talk NASCAR very often on this show. I'm going to today, strictly about one guy. But anytime Pastrana decides to go NASCAR racing, we're going to talk about it. And solid effort there in Vegas in the Gunbroker truck. Ended up finishing 16th. Not bad. Great to see Pastrana back, and obviously he did that for a couple of years. Talking with Trav, I know he said it was just very tough. He says a lot of respect for those guys in NASCAR, and it's a different craft that you got to dedicate yourself to. But I got to say, a guy that's literally about a year and a half been out of a truck, and hasn't raced in maybe 2 years. I don't know at this point, but to jump in and finish 16th in a NASCAR truck race. Against beat a lot of guys that run full time there. Definitely solid effort, Mr. Travis Pastrana. So congrats, my friend. I think that's a win. 16th. All the naysayers out there. Obviously, it's not a top 10, but you can't ask for much more, really. I mean, for a guy jumping in that's been out of the vehicle for quite some time, I don't know anybody else that could do as well as he did. That's for sure. So congrats. Some other events happening over the weekend. Obviously, we talked about Red Bull GRC. We also had the other guys, World Rallycross in action. They were over there in Istanbul in Turkey doing battle. And, it's turning into a bit of a little points battle here. But Petter Solberg definitely, way out front and I don't want to say got it in the bag, but he's definitely way out front. But, weekends like this in Istanbul where Timmy Hansen takes the win and Petter Solberg not exactly making the final, definitely, gives guys a chance to make up ground. But Timmy Hansen taking home the win. Bakkerud, my buddy Andreas Bakkerud, finishing up in second. Johan Kristoffersen third. Matthias Ekstrom fourth. Davy Janey fifth. And Anton Marklund finishing up in sixth. Petter Solberg finishing sixth place in his semifinal, not even making his way to the final. So your point standings in Supercar, Petter Solberg, he is out in front, 256 points. Timmy Hansen right there with 237 in second, and Johan Kristoffersen third to 201, and then we've got Bakkerud Blue in fourth, 188, and Davy Janey in fifth with 180 points. Skipping over to RX Lights, give you the quick rundown real quick, but Thomas Brentinson finishing up in first. We had Kevin Hansen in second, and third podium spot went to Tom Onslow Cole, finishing up in third. So, WRX obviously kind of winding things down. They got 2 rounds left. We got RX of Italy and then WRX in Argentina the end of November. So 2 rounds left there. And, it's at this point, Petter Solberg, it is all Petter. But Timmy Hansen, man, he's hit his stride. Should be interesting with 2 rounds to go. And then, had even more info, though. He had Dust to Glory Part 2 dropping at the Off-Road Expo this weekend. Dust to Glory Part 2. That's right. About 10, 12 years ago, Dust to Glory Part 1 launched. Dust to Glory Part 2 being announced. They're going to do it different. Obviously, the first one kind of kind of followed the Baja 1000. 1 year of the Baja 1000. Dust to Glory Part 2 is going to follow the entire SCORE series with a select few teams in 2016. And then it's scheduled to debut at the 2017 Baja 1000. So it's going to be a couple year project. And it's going to cover an entire series, an entire year of the SCORE championship there. So Dust to Glory Part 2 announced, and that's going to kick off the beginning of next year. And the SCORE schedule, we called it here on the show a couple of weeks ago, and it ended up being exactly what we said. So sometimes Down and Dirty Radio Show, we do have a little insight on things, so never count us out. We can bring you some breaking news once in a while, but San Felipe, Baja Sur, Baja 500, a desert challenge race at Rosarita Beach, and then the Baja 1000, 5 races, all in Mexico. That is the SCORE championship next year. So we're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, Amy Hood is going to be calling into the show, and we're also going to have Allie Henderson, women's FMX pioneer, and now supercar enthusiast. She's going to be calling in as well. So lots to come here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Hit me up with those questions at JimBeaver15 if you got them for Amy Hood or Allie Henderson, and we'll definitely get them asked on air. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XD series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XD series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZ RZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. It's definitely been a fun one today, man. Some great guests. Casey Currie, Mr. Off-Road himself, calling in, and then Chris Leone with Red Bull GRC calling in from Barbados, getting the recap of everything that happened down there in the Caribbean. And I don't know if Barbados even considered the Caribbean. It's way south. I mean, talking down by South America south. So I don't know, man. It's way down there. But anyways, yeah, Chris Leone calling in and talk some rallycross, some Pastrana and NASCAR, Dust to Glory. I don't know, man. We've covered our bases here, and yeah, Casey Currie gonna go trophy trucking in a 4-wheel drive. Definitely got me excited to check that out. But right now, Amy Hood calling in. That means we got to hit her music.
You better bust that if you don't pull that. Where the hood, where the hood, where the hood at?
What is up, Amy Hood?
Hey, how's it going?
Going good, man. Just recovering from the weekend, and yeah, I got up at 4 this morning to drive home to the studio to make this show happen. So there you go.
I feel you. I know we talk about it all the time, but Mondays are always pretty rough. I just posted a video on Instagram just talking about, how I really do feel about Mondays. And it's funny because I'm always one of those people who sees the glass half full, not empty, and, always like to take the positive route and everything. And I'm always like, when people whine and cry about Mondays, I'm like, dude, just suck it up. It's a Monday. But now I really understand how it feels because I go so hard all weekend and usually have like a 10-hour fly travel time on the way home and don't get home till like 2 a.m. on Monday mornings, and I have to go to work on Monday. So like right now I'm not feeling too stoked on Mondays. And like the next couple of weeks I am always flying home on Sundays and having to get up early to go to work on Mondays. So
yeah,
I feel you. But what I do like to tell people is it's always good to get a Monday workout in. It's really good to train your body. When you are feeling a little rough and low and lack of energy, it's always good at the beginning of the week to just try to make time to get that Monday workout in because it actually does a lot for your mentality and your physical kind of well-being and stuff. And I just always try not to miss my Monday workout. So if I can ever give a tip of the day, just always try to get in a Monday workout, whether that's going for a little run or sitting on the bike for 15, 20 minutes or doing a little ab workout. Just, force yourself. And it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the week. So that's my advice of the day.
Yeah. Well, and I know, with me, at least this show, knowing that I got to come in and do this for 2 hours and be somewhat awake, it's like this is my, this gets me, out of my hole on a Monday morning, just coming in and doing 2 hours of radio. And, at the end of this, it's like, all right, let's go attack something. Let's get something done. I'm lucky that I do this on Monday mornings,
Yeah, it's just one of those mental things. I mean, just try not to think about it that way, and you'll get over it. And everyone's always like, "Dude, how can you wake up and go to work? You went hard all weekend and you traveled or whatever, And just, well, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, well, it's like you said, I don't think people realize, I mean, sometimes I'm doing this show at midnight on a flight home from the East Coast, at midnight on a Sunday, get home at like 3 in the morning, wake up at, 6:30, and it's just nutty. But right now, Allie Henderson calling into the show. How is everything going, Allie? Allie, you there?
Hi, how's it going?
Well, you are on air
girl.
with, Jim Beaver and Amy
Hi,
Hood.
how are you?
I'm awesome. Long time no talk. I miss you.
I know, it's so good to hear from you.
I know. If you guys don't know, Allie and I actually go way back. Long-term friend and also like fellow moto chick. So, I miss you. We've had lots of fun adventures.
Lots and lots. What's going on? What are you guys up to?
Well, we're just talking about Mondays. You're probably one that can attest to this. I mean, Amy and I, we travel like ridiculous on the weekends, and Monday it's sometimes pulling yourself out of a hole. Obviously, we both do radio on Monday. She's talking about workouts. How do you get energized for a Monday and a new week? Because a lot of people, they're just like drowning on a Monday.
Well, I love what I do. So I love Mondays because then everyone else is working and you can keep connecting with people and you can keep growing your business. So I actually love Mondays because now people are back to work and they'll answer their emails.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge fan of Mondays.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes Monday's the day I send out emails. It's like, I want to send them on Friday. I'm like, this is going to get buried in a bunch of spam. Let's wait till Monday to send it out. Somebody will actually answer,
Totally. And then you start working with people and they're just so much more rejuvenated and they're kind of a little more easy to work with. Like working with somebody on like a Thursday afternoon, no one likes that. That's not fun.
Right.
Yeah, and usually Friday around noon, everyone tries to clock out early or has stuff to do and they're gone. So no.
Oh, they're checked out.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, I know it's funny. Obviously, I got to do my research when we have a guest on, and I've known about you for quite some time. So excited to finally get you on. But it's just funny. It's a small world. So I know back in the day, Bruce Cook was the one who kind of got you a little bit into FMX. He's the one that helped Amy. He's the one that helped Amy learn to backflip. I've known Bruce for a couple of years now. Obviously, never met him in person, but I ran the hashtag Smile for BC sticker on my trophy truck for a good year. It's just funny. A small world that a guy like that's been involved in. All three of us. To some extent.
I find the motocross world, whether it's freestyle or moto or anything, like I find it to be such a small world. Like even when we went to Toronto, Amy, we're hanging out with some of the bigger names in Supercross, just like getting kind of backstage. Like it becomes such a small world once you get into it. So yeah, I mean,
totally.
It's so funny because he sent me a picture last week of you at the shrine. He's like, look who's here. And I was like, yeah, I know. I talked to her. And he's like, why aren't you guys still talking? I was like, yeah, we caught up a little bit. I was like, such a small world.
Yeah,
and especially being a female in the industry, I find, being a racer or a freestyler, when you're an actual athlete and a girl in a male-dominated industry, there's not too many of us. So once you know one person, you kind of know everybody, and a lot of people know us because we're one of a small crowd. So it's cool that way. And I like the fact that this industry brings everybody so much closer, and people all over the world. But it's funny. Allie and I just met through social media. Actually, we followed each other's journey, and I think it was you who reached out to me one day, asking how I market myself and how I've been doing what I've been doing, and just looking for advice. And we ended up Skyping. And we kind of talked through Skype forever, and I just, invited her out one day to join me in Toronto for a Moto Adventures video, and we became friends ever since, and we've always stayed in touch and always followed each other's journey, and, that's why I really wanted to bring you on the show today, because you are doing so many cool things, and, you've made this transition from 2 wheels to 4, and it excites me, and it's so interesting because that is what I'm looking to do. And, I just really kind of want to know your thoughts and, why you chose to kind of leave the world of freestyle motocross and enter into the 4-wheel side. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was a kind of an accident, to be completely honest with you. I mean, and I feel like I kind of got pushed, to the cream of the crop just right off the get-go. So I, if anyone who follows my journey knows, I crashed and I lost half of an organ in a dirt bike accident when I was doing a freestyle show in the States. And while I was kind of coming back from that, I was riding at a facility out in Oliver, BC, and to kind of help out with my cost of living, I got a job at this hotel. And this racetrack that's coming to the South Okanagan up in Canada, they did this rally, this car rally. It's called Area 27. So they're putting this racetrack together. It's designed by Jacques Villeneuve, and it's this Formula One racetrack. And they did their first rally to kind of raise some money and awareness. And I was working there, and I just volunteered. And like my first car rally ever, I was in a Lamborghini Aventador. And like we were going all over like the lower mainland, the Okanagan, and like going to wineries and just like, and we would be with other like supercars. So we'd be like the lineup of like 18 Ferraris and Lambos and like just these crazy things. And like I'm not a huge, like I've never really known that world or really been even into it because it's just a whole new world. But the energy and the excitement and the fun, like the demographic of those people, the most fun. So like after that car rally, I was just like, this was really great. Like I kind of want to keep being involved, and so I helped with the marketing and the promotions of Area 27, and now I'm kind of running my own car events, and I have my first kind of supercar rally on October 17th here. So I'm actually just sitting in Starbucks, just crossing some T's and dotting some I's on some of the details, but that's kind of been that transition.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. I mean, talk about a completely different world of things. What's been like the biggest differences between the two industries? I mean, we talk about motocross being a really close-knit and tight community. Do you find there's a similar environment in the supercars? And, what's the biggest differences you've noticed?
Oh, it's the same thing. It's a small community, and it's a bit different too. Like, I mean, all of the problems in that world are very, very first world problems. And it's a different, like, I find like in motocross and dirt biking, it was always kind of a struggle. Like everyone's trying to make it on such limited like resources, and you're hustling so hard, and it's your talent and it's your marketing. And like these guys have made it in different worlds and different industries, and now they're just coming out to play. So it's just a different feel that way, whereas like everyone's kind of the hustle, the grind, like, oh God, Red Bull noticed me or Rockstar noticed me. And then here everyone's just, they're all self-made and they just go out and play. And I think, and I've kind of put this out there before, but the best part about being in that world is kind of being around those type of people, the people who've created so much greatness through like wealth and just freedom in their life, and being able to sit next to them and pick their brain on what they know. It's a really cool experience.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it's got to have been awesome for you, just, some of these high-powered people just being able to pick their brains and on things. And, and a lot of times people like that are tough to get access to. And here this door opens to you where you've got access to them now, right?
And you know what? They're my friends, and they're just people. And I think some often like kind of people kind of categorize them as this group or like this idea, but no, they're just people, and they become my friends. And like even for my first car event, I'm like, you guys have to be there. And they're like, well, Allie, like we might have to go to a wedding, or I have to go to do this. I'm like, nope, you're all gonna be there. And I just get to like kind of call on them, and yeah, they're just really great people.
Yeah. Well, let's go back a little bit, because I know we talked about the transition from 2 to 4, but I want to talk about, how you first got into two wheels, because, that was one of those things where it kind of, it wasn't like it was planned. It was just like, went out there and just did it, right?
And it's not every day you see a girl just try freestyle motocross who does not come from a background of racing, so...
No, I grew up riding horses, and I think one thing that really attracts me to Amy is like you're just a go-getter and you're a dreamer and you believe in the impossible and the big things, and I can totally relate. And I remember because I met Bruce, and it blew my mind that I had no idea who Bruce was. Like he graduated high school with my sister. I knew all about freestyle. I was always really into that sport. I never was allowed a dirt bike, and like when I graduated high school, I got a job in Europe riding horses. So like I was very much in that horse world. So when I came back, when I was like 23, I think, I came back and I was looking for that something to do, because I was kind of over the horse thing. And I met Bruce through a friend actually on social media. And it blew my mind that I didn't know him. And me and Bruce were like instantly friends. Like we were literally like these like two little peas in a pod, just like running havoc all over the Okanagan, just being little shitheads. But we had a lot of fun. And I remember he brought me up to his compound once and just started hitting ramps 75 feet and backflipping and this and that. And I don't know why I thought this, but I looked at it and I watched and I was like, I could do that. Like I could totally do that. And then, Bruce and I being so close, I said to him, I was like, I kind of want to try. And like, he had no reason to let me. Like, first of all, huge liability. I didn't have a background on a dirt bike. I mean, it's a sport that you don't get into when you're 23 years old. But he was just such a great friend, and he let me, and we just kind of took it on together. And my first ramp was like I didn't have any money at the time. Like the first bike that I bought, I bought it off one of his friends, and I made payments on it for like 4 months, like a $2,000 bike. Like I made like payments on it, and we would just we had a little track, and we would just go and play. And then one day I went up there, and there was this ramp, and it was like pushed right into the landing. And I was like, what is this? He's like, it's for you. Like, try it. Like, and you said you want to try. And I was like, oh my gosh. And now I've got to put my money where my mouth is. And sure enough, I just kind of went up and did that. And honestly, within 2 years, I went from jumping like 10 feet to 75 feet, doing like double grabs and Cordovas, heel clickers. Like I started to get to travel with it. I mean, I was in Georgia for a while and did some photo shoots in California. I went out to Toronto to see like it all within 2 years. I'd gone from like 10 feet to 75 feet to losing an organ to not knowing what the heck I was doing. It was a crazy, crazy journey.
How come you gravitated towards freestyle instead of motocross, where there's a lot more opportunity, obviously a little bit more safer, and there's a lot different levels. You can kind of enter into the whole racing world at any level, and you kind of find a niche and you fit, and you can work your way up. Like, how come it was freestyle instead of motocross? I'm just curious about that.
I think mostly because, one, freestyle was all I knew. Like, I didn't know dirt bikes at all. Like, so the only really exposure I had to dirt bikes was through Bruce Cook, and that was freestyle. I also think, too, like, my objective was never really to be a professional athlete. Like, my objective was to, like, defy odds and prove anything possible, and then take that and, like, build a business off it or build a speaking career off it. So to, like, really invest in, and, like, the thing is, I could differentiate myself so much easier in freestyle. Like, I was one of the only women in the world doing it. I think there was a girl in Australia named Emma doing it, and then Jolene was doing it. But I was the only girl that was really like jumping and tricking 75 feet. So when it came to marketing myself and putting myself out there and the imagery that comes with doing freestyle, talk about good content for your marketing. So, like being a professional athlete was never the goal. It was just to kind of build a brand around, doing whatever, like just doing the impossible.
Yeah. Well, and here's the question: you still on a bike off and on? I know, obviously, you're in the supercar world now, but you still on a bike ever? You ever go out and ride?
Oh, I thought you kind of cut out.
Oh, I said, I said, I know, obviously, you're in the supercar world now, but how often do you still go out and ride? I mean, you ever on your bike at all anymore?
I do. I still have my KTMs. I have a 350 SXF, and I love it. And I honestly, I took a little bit of a break. I had a bit of a, when I crashed, it was actually a really, I call it my quarter life crisis. It was a hard time, but it was a great time, like what I kind of took from it. But I still have my bike, and I still love the freedom that it gives me. I haven't really hit ramps much lately. I crashed, Bruce crashed, my ex-boyfriend has recently crashed too, and it's a sport that you're in or you're out, and you risk a lot, to kind of play in that world. And so now when I get on my bike, it's more about like going out trail riding. Like I'm from the Okanagan, and we have incredible mountain ranges, and I'll just like go to the very top and just go find the random lakes and, go with friends and, bring some beers and just have fun with it now. So it's just a bit of a different experience for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what's up next for you, Allie? I mean, obviously, this whole world of, supercars and exotic cars is now opened up. I mean, you're around some amazing vehicles. I mean, what's up next for you?
I really want to get back into racing. I really want to get back into the adrenaline of it all. So I've been looking at different ways of kind of getting behind the wheel for like supercars. You don't race them. They're beautiful and they're fun. And when the track's open, the guys will race them. But I mean, I want to find a way to kind of get back into it. So I don't know if it's like me karting. I'm going to look into maybe getting some rally racing. I'm building my own marketing company around within the car world too. So that business aspect of things is keeping me super busy. I'm running events, but no, a big focus of mine right now is I don't have that adrenaline thing going on, and I need it. I just crave it so bad. So I'm going to look in some form of car racing.
Yeah, we need to get her in Terracross, Amy.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's a fun transition. It's fun. It's it's safe. It's safe. So there's roll cage involved. But yeah, I mean, there's cool because the four-wheel side of things, there's so many options. You got dirt and asphalt and everything in between, even, So, yeah, I mean, the door's open for you for sure. You got a good base.
Yeah, I definitely I was actually looking at some of your stuff. Like, I saw you were doing some driving with Ronnie Feist and Sarah in that world and stuff. So it looks fun. I might have to. Are you going to be down there in California this winter?
I will be. I'm actually heading to California this Friday. And then I'll kind of be down there for the next couple of weeks. I'll be back and forth, but I got, I'll be kind of on the east or the west coast for the next little while here. So, yeah, I mean, just hit me up if you want to go and do anything. I mean, I'm always down. I never say no.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you're so good for that. You're so good at just kind of keeping that community, like the whole dirt community, just going. Like, you're really great at that. Totally appreciate it.
Well, and it's important for me to try to get other girls involved into it. I've always really wanted to see you race dirt bikes. You are really talented, obviously, on two wheels, and you have that adrenaline going for you, and you got a good attitude. And I think you would be a really successful motocross racer. So, I mean, if you are ever interested in doing that, you let me know because I will make it happen, and we could go do it together, and it would be awesome.
That would be so fun. Honestly, I think, it's getting more women involved in the sport makes a big difference. Like, I think one of the reasons why I never really, loved freestyle because I was always with boys. And I love guys, don't get me wrong, but, when you have your girl crew, when you've got, your team and your girls and you're doing that together, it's so powerful.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely understand it. For my whole growing up racing life, when I was a lot younger, I was surrounded by guys all the time, and it did kind of suck until last year where I, met my Bad Girls Club, and I got these, a big crew of awesome women where we load up to Winnebago, blast some music, do a bunch of girl crap. And it's really fun to have a girl group now, and I really appreciate it, and I appreciate our experience together. It's not it's like a sorority of chicks who ride dirt bikes. It doesn't get any cooler than that. Truly.
No, that sounds so fun. That sounds so fun. And actually, what I've noticed? There's a lot more girls getting into ramps. I was just kind of cruising through, and there's some girls that are making way in that world, and that is so cool to me.
Yeah, the biker chick, Maria Sandberg. There's a lot over in Europe, I find. But no, it's one of those things, though. It does obviously scare me a little bit because a lot of people, even like yourself, who made that transition to freestyle motocross without having, a strong background in racing, even a foundation, because it is one of those sports that there's very little room for error. And it worries me, people who don't have a lot of knowledge on racing and how to correct yourself and how to, even when I hit some of the ramps, I noticed, if I'm not comfortable and I know I'm maybe not necessarily in second gear, I have that experience on a bike where I know, okay, I'm going to turn around and start over again. I'm going to reset myself up for this. I overthink it, which I think is a good quality. Unlike a lot of people that I know who, if they don't have experience on a bike, they might just, balls to the wall kind of thing and not think about it too much. And that's where, you don't have a lot of error in that sport. And my dad's always just stick to the foam pit because, you can land a little bit wrong and it's okay. You land a little bit wrong on dirt and there's broken bones involved with that. It's a little scary, and I just hope everybody who, gets into freestyle, really knows what they're doing and really, has a good foundation and thinks about it because it's
so true.
Yeah.
It is, and like you said, it's and I think what I love about it is what makes it so scary is that if you're 99% in, you're out. You have to be 100% in because, you go, if you're hitting 75 feet, often landings aren't really, gentle. If you end up going 70 feet or end up going, 80, 85 feet, that's the difference between having or losing an organ, So it is it's a all-encompassing thing, which makes it addicting and so incredible. But, yeah. It's crazy.
Well, I gotta ask you, Allie, before we let you go. You've been around, obviously, the two-wheel community, but now, the four-wheel with supercars and exotic cars. I mean, I'm a big fan of exotic cars. Obviously, I'm an off-road racer by trade and pretty much anything in the dirt. But I've got a big appreciation for supercars. I mean, out of all the cars you've seen or been in, I mean, you've got to have one you've got to have picked out as your favorite.
I'm a huge sucker for McLarens, like the whole lineup right now that they've got going on. I love going to that store and just hanging out in there. The P1's obviously something pretty exceptional. We do have one in our club too, so I mean, even just to kind of like experience it. And I met the designer for McLaren, Frank Stephenson, so kind of talked to him about like what his idea behind all of it. So that's a really special brand to me right now. But I'm loving the classics. I love the Ferrari 458. That is something to me that is just like from behind, like driving behind that car, like that thing's got curves. Like it is such a good looking car. The Aventador is something that I love a lot too. I mean, it's the first car I ever really got to experience that world in. And so the Aventador would definitely be a top one for me too. So somewhere between the 458, the Aventador, or maybe the P1, somewhere in there. I'd be happy with any of them.
Nice. Yeah, I've always been a fan of the original McLaren F1. I know that they only made a handful of them, but those things are just so tremendously amazing with the center seat and everything. Like I've always been a sucker for those. They're
stunning. They're so cool. Actually, 2 weeks ago, McLaren did a big thing where it's like all the F1 and the P1 owners got to go on a big car rally together. They went and drove somewhere. I was like, that would have been, like, I didn't get to go, but I was like, that would be a cool experience.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, McLaren, it's just next level stuff they come out with. It's literally race car inspired, Yeah,
they stay really integral to what they do, which is track. Like I know like the brands are kind of trying to make it more like daily driver and, happier for the family, like the Ferrari FF. Like, let's make this a family vehicle. Like, but what I love so much about McLaren is they stay integral to what they know, which is track.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't care if our audio system or air conditioners are crap. Our car is fast, That's what I've always liked about McLaren. They're like, yeah, we'll kind of throw that other stuff in after the fact,
Totally.
Yeah.
Love it.
For sure. Well, you got anything for Allie before we let her go, Amy?
No, I mean, I think we kind of covered everything, and, I'm really excited to see where this kind of takes you, and, you saying you're kind of starting your own marketing company behind all this. Like I just think you got a lot going for you. You got a good head on your shoulders. You're super smart. And yeah, I like following your journey because I'm always like, all right, what's she up to next?
Oh, and likewise. And come spring, I rented an airstrip. So Amy, I want to do something where you and I kind of do some sort of supercar event together. I'm thinking Fast and Furious inspired, maybe get some of the track cars out, like the Felino or maybe the Lucra, and do a really cool event around that. So I'll keep you posted on that because it'd be great to have you involved.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. And I really wanted to come to that rally on that race that you were talking about. But schedule's so tight. Let me know ahead of time so I can book it in there because I want to come and I want to. Yeah, no, I'm really starting to like four wheels. I mean, you get more wheels and you get a cage around you. So
it seems to be the natural progression, that's for sure.
Yeah,
for
sure. All right, Allie. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to call in, and I know you're awful busy, and anytime you got anything though, hit us up. You've got my cell, obviously you've got Amy's, and we'd love to have you on air and help you on any projects you've got going.
I appreciate you guys both so much. I love what you guys do for this community, and thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Allie, and we'll talk soon.
All right, bye, you guys.
All right. Well, it was awesome catching up with her. Heck of a story, Amy. I mean, just her transition to two wheels and now four wheels, and I mean, just talk about an awesome person, and it's crazy. I mean, literally, I mean, she's got a legit scar, that she's, it's just, it was a crazy crash.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's one tough chick, and she's just doing so much, and she does a lot of, speaking at high schools and in communities and stuff, and she's just she's such a great ambassador for the sport, and a really powerful story, obviously, but she's a great role model, and if anybody gets an opportunity to meet her and talk to her, like, I love her even more than I've met her in person. Like, she's one of those people that transpires well from the internet to person. Like, she's exactly the same, if not even cooler in person. So, no, I love her. She's great. really, I feel really blessed to like have met her because she's also, I mean, it's kind of an honor for her to text me and, you know, ask for advice and, you know, ask for my opinion on things where it's like, girl, I think what you're doing is awesome. Like, give me advice. Like, we feed off each other's energy and, you know, are always really there for each other. And we've only actually hung out one weekend in Toronto at Toronto Supercross. But we, you know, I feel like she's one of my closest friends in the industry, you know, being a girl and being what she's doing. But no, I love Allie. She's rad. And I think she will be very, very successful in her life. So. Yeah.
You know, and I'm interested, you know, to see what she does with this marketing company and everything else. Obviously, you know, she's got, you know, got a lot of possibilities there, and should be exciting to keep tabs on her story.
Pardon me?
I said it should be exciting to keep tabs on her story.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
So give me the lowdown. We got a couple minutes left. You know, I know you were in St. Louis doing the first form thing this weekend. How'd that go?
It was awesome. Minus being super sick. I had the flu, like you know, you and me were keeping in touch, and I was so sick on Wednesday, and I was dying, and it was actually kind of terrible. So I just loaded up on Dayquil and NyQuil and cold effects and Tylenol, cold and flu, and you know, chugged a freaking Red Bull and just kept on trucking. But you know, it's always really fun to go to St. Louis. I get recharged. It's great to see those. You know, the First Form family, they're so motivational, inspirational, and they just like, it's like the family and the big brothers and sisters that I don't have. Like, I'm an only child, so it's great to see them. And, you know, I got a couple things working in the air where I may move down there. I may move to St. Louis. I love St. Louis. First Form has lots of opportunity. They're growing immensely, and, you know, next year's going to be a huge year for them, and I'd really like to kind of be a part of it, and yeah, we'll kind of see where that goes. But no, they're just this amazing group of people. Like, amazing doesn't even do justice. Like, if there's a word that's better than amazing, that's who they all are. Like, every one of them, like every person who works there, their wives, their, you know, their family members, like, they're just such a rad group of people. Yeah. They're so positive.
Yeah, it just seems like, you know, they're, like you said, a big family, and you go down there and it's, you know, it's like, you know, family reunion type of thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's what it is. I mean, they fly us down like every month or every 2 months just so we can like all meet and hang out and, you know, take some photos, but also just go for dinners. And they, you know, invite us all over to their house, and they're so hospitable, and they, you know, make us big family dinners, and we sit around a bonfire and talk about life. And it's just, they've brought so much value to my life and made me appreciate, you know, relationships and, you know, really value that. And I respect them like crazy. Like, I can't even express. I'm just so grateful to have met them all, and really, really happy. Really, really happy to be a part of the First Form family. Probably one of the best things that's ever happened in my life.
Nice. Yeah, it seemed like a tremendous group of people, and, you know, it's just the stuff, you know, you're able to do with them. You know, looks like you guys just have a ton of fun for sure.
Yeah, no, we have a blast, that's for sure. We went paintballing. They actually wanted to take us skydiving, but it eliminates a couple of the people because some of these dudes are like 240, 250, like jacked muscle men. Like, they don't even make the weight restrictions because they're so, you know, wow, they're so big and beefcakey. But no, that's what the cool thing about them is, like, they always want to take us adventuring and doing something rad and cool and like team builders and, you know, overcoming, you know, things that you may push your comfort level and stuff. And like, that's what's so cool about them.
Yeah, for sure. So, hey, before we let you go, I gotta say we're a couple of weeks out from episode number 200, and we're starting to roll in with some interview requests, and I'm going to put you on the spot. You know, well, I won't put you on the spot, but get your wheels turning. You know, a lot of fans are sending me suggestions on who they want on air on episode 200, whether it's a returning guest or somebody we've never had before. I know so far the number one has been Danny Way, who would be tremendous to get on. I mean, you know, one of, you know, the founding athletes of DC Shoes. You know, his brother Damon started with Ken Block. You know, he's done skateboard world records, run rally cars. So I think he'd be awesome. But get your wheels turning on people maybe we haven't ever had on air from the two-wheel community.
I will.
You know, I'm thinking.
I'll try to think of a really dominant female in the action sports world, because I'd like to bring her on, obviously. Yeah. My, like, you know, two-wheel female-ish-niche segment. So, I'll definitely keep the wheels turning here.
Yeah, so we'll try and blow it up in a couple of weeks, and I think it just so happens that episode number 200 happens to be like the first 1-year anniversary that you were ever on the show. So it's kind of an interesting tie in there. So yeah, keep your wheels turning the next week or so.
I will. Well, it's good to talk to you again. Obviously, and next week Monday I'm going to be in California, so we'll have to. I'm going to have to find a phone, or I'll call you from Kaylee's phone, because Kaylee and I will be probably hanging out on Monday. But I'm heading down there on Friday. I got a couple cool photo shoots. I'm really going to try to check out Ronnie Feist and Sarah's last race at in Elsinore for the Lucas Oil Off-Road, and check out their scene. But I got a jam-packed weekend coming up, so we'll have lots to talk about on Monday.
For sure. Awesome, Amy. Well, you take it easy, and we'll talk soon.
You too. Have a good one. Bye.
All right, bye. All right, we got to wind things up here, though. We're running way short on time. Got about a minute left, but upcoming we got Kirby Chambliss coming up, Red Bull Straight Rhythm, Air Race, Blue Water Desert Challenge. This weekend, just Rally America, Formula Drift, but got to thank Polaris Razor, General Tire, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, UPR.com, Blue Water Resort and Casino, Jmar Performance Brakes, KMC Wheels, Parker Motor Company, Gibson Exhaust, MTX and Intense Tees, Allie, Chris, Casey, Amy. Give me a follow at JimBeaver15 on Instagram, Twitter, and, I guess Snapchat, Periscope, and at AmyHood71, Facebook.com/DownAndDirtyShow and DownAndDirtyShow.com for all your back episodes. Download our app, and don't forget, we're live Thursday from the General Tire Party at the Blue Water Desert Challenge. And don't forget, follow me on social media. We're giving away some Red Bull Air Race tickets this week. As always, have a great week, and game on.